So we've already talked about how statisticians find the center of the data, mean, median, mode, and how they determine the spread with range, variance, and standard deviation, but we're also interested in the position of the data. And one of the things that we do as statisticians is we set them up into quartiles. So we're going to figure out where in this position in our set of data does our individual score lie in accordance to quartiles, which means we're going to break our data set up into 4 equal parts. So we're ordered into 4 groups, each containing about 25% of the data. The median marks the second quartile, so our median is the halfway point of our data. So median is quartile 1, or quartile 2. We take half of the lower half, that's our quartile 1. So from the lowest to the first marking of our quarter is the first quartile. From the first quartile to the middle of our data is the second quartile. Then from our median to our next quarter is our third quartile, and then of course you have your upper quartile. So your lower quartile is from the lowest to the first marking of your quartile, and then your upper quartile is the highest 25% of your scores, maximum down to your first quarter mark. So these 3 quartiles, along with the minimum and maximum values, are called the 5-number summary of a data set. So when we're counting quartiles, when the number of values in a set is odd, the median is not included in either half of the data set. We calculate into Q1 and Q2. So if it's an even set, then it's going to be split to top, or an odd, it's going to be split in the top and bottom. It's not counted in either one. Okay, so let's look at our 5-number summary on the next set of data, which means we have a lower first quartile, second, third, fourth quartile, and we also have the maximum minimums. The number of hours that Lena worked in each of the first 12 hours were, and they list those there. Find the maximum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and the maximum of the data set. We're going to use technology to help us find these. We just looked at our calculator and it showed us some of this information in our previous example. So I took the time and I already loaded this data into the stats. So since we're going to use our calculator to do this, we're going to use our stat feature of our calculator. So you can hit your stat key, and then you're going to edit to list, and then you would simply type in list 1, the values that Lena worked, and slide over here. So I got 21, 10, 18, all 12 weeks of work that she has. I also have some numbers here in list 2, but I'm not going to utilize those right now. What I do know is that all of her times that she worked for 12 weeks are loaded in list 1. We're going to find the maximum, minimum, lower, and all that information. So once we have it in there, the majority of our input work is done. All we have to do is hit our stat. We're going to calculate, in this case, a 1-variable statistics again. Our values are in list 1. We did not use a frequency, and we're going to calculate. Okay, so now, according to our directions, what we want to do is we want to find the minimum and the maximum in the first quartile, the median, and the upper quartile. So let's go ahead and grab the min and max right away. The minimum score, we would need the calculator assistance on this, but as long as it's there, the minimum is, it's saying 10. The maximum, it is saying, is 21. And we can see that the highest score is 21, the lowest is 10 in our list. Now what we want is our first quartile. So the first quartile is 13.5. Our second quartile, or a median, is 17. And then our third quartile is 19.5. Now these are the numbers that divide our data set into 4 equal parts. So we have identified the lower quartile, the upper quartile, and the median, and the max and the min. That is our 5 data summary. So the calculator makes that quick and efficient way of doing this. So interpret this 5-number summary. Well, we know that our high and low scores, that's pretty obvious, high and low. We also know that 25% of the data fits into 13.5 hours or below. That 17 hours represents anywhere from 17 down to 13.5. 25% of her data is within that range, so are hours that she worked. There's another 25% of the time she works somewhere between 17 and 19.5 hours. And then the final 25%, she worked more than 19.5 hours. So that's interpreting this summary data. We know about what percent of the time she worked this many or number of hours.